name is Kai Wilding, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the idea of power, a powerless situation, and if a citizen can be powerful in a powerless situation, and also provide examples from history. So as humans, we have a time in our life, everyone goes through this, when you feel oppressed or controlled by someone with more power than you. And I'm going to be discussing if it is possible for a human or civilian to rise up against this daunting power and gain power for themselves and to be able to control things around them. So the idea of power is the ability to control or influence the behavior of things, of the current events around them or the people around them. And a powerless situation is one that provides citizens with all the opposites of this: feelings of fear, of no control, of being encaged in their current space with no idea of control of anything around them or the current events. And so I believe that a citizen is not able to be powerful in a powerless situation. There are many government styles and economies that deprive citizens of having choice and power over them. One is a fascist government. A fascist government is one like Hitler's. This is Hitler and his fascist government right here. During his fascist reign, he killed hundreds of people, and the Holocaust had no heroes or those with power, even though he was killing hundreds and thousands of people and Jews, and no one was able to stand up to him because all civilians had a feeling of fear and no control over the things around them. And having no control and no feeling of any sort of control over the current events around them or the people is a criteria of being powerful. And so the Holocaust is an example of how civilians cannot gain power in a powerless situation. In a state of war, citizens can't direct the behaviors of others because they can't overcome their own fears to help the masses and also gain power for themselves and citizens like them. The Cambodian Civil War had no civilians with power, just like the Holocaust. This is a picture of a child in the Cambodian Civil War. So just like the Holocaust, the Cambodian Civil War killed hundreds of thousands of people. It was very obvious to Cambodians, to surrounding countries, and the people who were about to be killed that they had no control over it and no power at the time. So they, like the Holocaust, was unable to rise up together and come together to direct each other and gain power for themselves, whereas they stood back and was able to be overpowered by the powerful situation of the opposing forces. Another example, and the reason a Cambodian Civil War is an example of this is because having power and coming together is a criteria of being power and gaining power in a powerless situation. Another example of a powerless situation where citizens were not able to gain power and rise up was 9/11. During 9/11, many people were killed and no one could stand up to Al-Qaeda. During a powerless situation, civilians cannot overcome their own fear, like I said before, to become powerful for themselves and for the people around them. And this is a picture of the 9/11 attack. So like I said, civilians cannot be able to rise up and fight for themselves and gain power because of the daunting fear and problems faced by the opposing forces. And finally, the USSR is a great example of a powerless situation and citizens not being able to overcome the power above them. and the USSR killed millions, but brought people to be so scared and brainwashed that they weren't able to retaliate. And once a powerless situation has begun, civilians become weak and controllable. Citizens then are changed forever, and the controlling group or person have made a lasting difference. And that is another criteria of a powerless situation, where citizens are not able to gain power in their situation. Because, and also the main reason this one is such a big event is because it's not able, it creates a lasting difference that stays in the hearts of many for a very long time. And so I believe that citizens and civilians are not able to rise up, gain power in a powerless situation, because if it is obvious, if you look back through history, there is no chance of this in history. Thank you very much.